Hello and welcome once again to the IBA's Tuesday Bulletin of news and information for the radio and television trade. In the first of two reports from this year's CAI exhibition, we talked to some of the seminar speakers about developments as they see them. Community radio news includes the latest on two stations, Airport Information Radio serving Heathrow and Gatwick, and in Glasgow, East End Radio. And there's just the one television relay, Redbrook in Gloucestershire. But first, Bruce Randall reports from last week's Confederation of Aerial Industries exhibition and seminars.
This year's CAI event was inevitably dominated by satellite television, with renewed interest since the start of BSB's services. In the first seminar and on the Megasat stand, Graham Lawson, despite reservations from BSB, was pushing hard to opt for a single steerable dish for all services. I asked him why.
Well, I feel that it's much more sensible for a customer to have one dish rather than a multiple number, and there's really no end to how many you might end up having.
But isn't it more expensive to do it that way than certainly to have two?
I think the price of one steerable dish equates to roughly the price of two fixed dishes.
I fully agree with the Megasat approach that you should have a motorised dish to scan all the satellites in the sky. Where I think I should probably differ is I don't see BSB as a satellite service, I see it as a UK DBS service. And certainly the UK DBS service is there to create an infrastructure for the UK and provide a full range of facilities for the UK population. And this isn't just a movie channel and 4 other free channels, it's a whole range of data, video and text services. And the system that we use called Eurocipher that controls who receives these services and who doesn't receive these services is quite fussy. It likes to send individual messages to individual receivers, and we like a probability that they've been received of about 1 in a billion. It's not just one service, movie channel, yes or no. It's a whole range of things in the future. And that's where I think we'll encounter problems if people use motorised dishes.
So the implication was that if you didn't have your dish parked on the BSB satellite overnight, say, that you would lose your affiliation to the satellite, your enablement to receive it.
No, the problem isn't losing authorisation, the problem is not receiving a future authorisation. If we have a set of people who we know have paid us or who wish to receive a service, we then send the signals that say, for this service you're entitled to receive it. And we have a lot of signals to send and a lot of subscribers to send them to. And statistically we send the things with a probability that you'll receive them. If you have a motorised dish and you're watching some other programme, you're not going to receive the messages. And I think that's the area of concern.
Well, people see that as a disadvantage to having BSB. The fact that you've got to be constantly authorised or continually authorised.
No, it's not a continual authorisation, rather we send you a monthly authorisation or we send you an advance authorisation. You don't lose an authorisation. It's purely if you go over a boundary where the previous authorisation is no longer valid, you'll need a new one. Now we send those out about 7 times a month. You'll receive those with a fixed dish. With a motorised dish you could easily miss them. But I think really we see BSB as much more like an IBA service, where you have a fixed UHF aerial, you'll have a fixed IBA aerial pointed at the DBS slot allocated to the UK, capable of receiving all the services that the UK slot broadcasts in the future.
Alan, you've got no sign of interference yet of getting into the satellite business, and yet here we have got BSB on the air now. Still no temptation to go into that market?
Still no temptation, because we haven't found any way in which we can make money out of it. It's as simple as that. The BSB dishes and receivers are being contracted out to a specific number of manufacturers. And what we tend to want to do always, of course, is to sell our own branded product to our own customers in the way that we want to sell it, not in the way that either Sky or BSB would want us to sell it.
But that won't go on forever. I mean, by the end of the decade, surely satellite television is going to be well established and completely free for anyone to make equipment for it.
Well, I'm still sceptical about the economics of satellite television. I still come back to the basics that the terrestrial aerial industry could equip every home, and has done, every home in the United Kingdom with a TV aerial for about £500 million. And to do so with a satellite set of equipment will cost at least £5 billion, to the consumer that is. And I'm not sure that the consumers in the United Kingdom are prepared to pay that extra money.
So what do you see as the main developments that lie ahead in the next 10 years or so?
Well, it's totally intriguing. One of the things I'm talking about this afternoon is high-definition television, because it's obviously one of the crucial factors that could change the whole broadcasting scene. And the theme of what I'm talking about is that BSB seems to be the UK sole way of moving towards high-definition television. And again, I'm being sceptical about the economics of satellite television. I'm not sure that this is the one and only HDTV project that should be up and running. There has to be some other way as well as BSB.
I think I'd feel comfortable that the high-definition project was in the hands of an IBA franchisee, because I think that gives the government the greatest control over actually achieving high definition. Certainly terrestrially, I think there are capacity problems in introducing a proper high-definition television service to the UK. The advantage of satellite is there is the capacity. It's not just the BSB channels. There are 5 channels that the DTI have applied for to be allocated by the World Administrative Radio Conference. They could be BBC 3, ITV7, whatever the government chooses to do. It's not just BSB, but BSB has to establish the infrastructure. We have to get those antennas pointing at the UK orbital slot. Then everyone can use the technology, whether it's through BSB or other franchise holders, for the benefit of the UK.
Interfacing all these things is going to be an absolute nightmare. You're talking about 2 satellite receivers, you're talking about a 5th channel, which is going to come zonking in on channel 35 and 37 in the middle of everybody's existing VCR. You're talking about establishment currently of homes with 3 television sets, about 1 in 4. Well, within 4 or 5 years, that'll be 1 in 2 homes, or even more than that. But somebody somewhere is going to make an economic fortune out of solving the problems.
Maybe interference will come.
Maybe interference. This is certainly one of the things we're looking at.
What's the state of the aerial trade at the moment? And how did you enjoy the last hurricane?
Didn't enjoy them at all. We were caught absolutely with our trousers down. The aerial trade had been quiet for about 6 months before the 29th of January. And when the hurricane hit, it was chaos-filled. We tried to get hold of aluminium tube, of course, firstly, and did all right for a few weeks there until the tube itself ran out, because there wasn't enough capacity in the rolling mills to catch up. And I would say that we probably lost market share as some of the Continentals shipped their excess production over here, whilst the UK was gearing up. And there's no question at all that we had a lot of unhappy riggers out there, desperate to put up aerials that we weren't manufacturing.
Now, you were saying also that there might well be a decent profit margin to be made for a good conscientious dish installer. How do you suggest he goes about that? Is it selling upmarket products? Can he make a decent living on a basic product?
Well, our view is that a motorised install is a once and for all install. So you're not constantly asking an installer to come back and drill ever more holes in your window frame and roll up carpets all over again. But it's an expensive one-off cost. So we're saying to people, charge £275 for a skillful install. We're also saying that by closing a deal with a chap for a motorised install, you should get lots of decoder add-ons as a result, rather than seeing him shopping around every time he wants to put a new service in.
So you're saying choose the customer, choose the upmarket, the adventurous customer rather than the basic one?
I think it's a misnomer in a way to believe that somebody who spends a lot of money is necessarily a B demographic group, you know. You'll see plenty of C's and D's in Harrods these days. It's just finding the right man, you know, finding the man that's prepared to pay you for your skill. You're a specialist as a CAI member, and you should be paid like that. You're not one of these monkeys who goes around installing for Sky and BSB. You're a specialist, and I think you should sell yourself like that.
Graham Lawson of Megasat there being more than a little partisan. His views, not ours. And there's more from the CAI exhibition next week.
A few months back, we reported on progress with Program Delivery Control, the automatic programming and control of video recorders based on special transmitted labels. Very recently, Channel 4 and Oracle have begun some preliminary tests to help VCR manufacturers develop suitable products. Page 485 on Oracle contains a specimen program listings page linked to extra information in Data Packets 26, which will eventually enable easy pre-selection of programs using a cursor on the teletext display. The unique label transmitted with each program is also there on test, and that is contained within Packet 830, Format 2. So PDC is another step nearer, and Channel 4 plans to start a regular service early next year.
Incremental radio now, and a new medium wave service for people using either Heathrow or Gatwick is due on test this Friday the 15th on 1584 kHz. Airport Information Radio will have a studio at each location with completely separate programming for both airports. Information will be aimed mainly at road travellers with updates about hold-ups due to traffic conditions, terminal parking and arrival-departure delays. Programmes from both studios are due to start at 11 a.m. on the 25th of June, and with 39 million people passing through Heathrow last year and over 20 million at Gatwick, this service should also prove useful to the local communities.
A VHF incremental station, East End Radio for Glasgow, is due on test next Monday on 103.5 MHz with vertical polarisation from Ruchesi to the east of the city. The predicted coverage area will extend from Carlisle in the south to Muirhead in the north. Speech-based programmes, which should begin on the 25th of June, will be mainly for people in the 25 to 55 age group, but there are also special schedules planned for teenagers. The potential audience totals 390,000.
There's a new television relay being built at Redbrook in Gloucestershire, which is due on the air at the end of next week. It's for about 320 people, most of whom have been depending on a self-help active deflector. Others have been receiving very poor signals from Ridge Hill or Clearwell. Viewers are encouraged to change to the new relay as soon as possible, so that the self-help transmitter can be switched off to minimise the risk of interference. HTV West will be the regional ITV service on Channel 42, with Channel 4 on 52. Aerials will need to be Group B and vertically polarised. Redbrook, on the England-Wales border, south-east of Monmouth, is due later this month.
That's all for this week, but do get in touch if you have any technical queries on independent broadcasting. Our address is Engineering Information, Independent Broadcasting Authority, Crawley Court, Winchester, Hampshire, SO21 2QA. Our telephone number is Winchester, that's 0962 822 444. Office hours are 8:30 to 4:30, at other times there's an answering machine. We hope you'll join us again next Tuesday morning at 5:45 when we'll be back at the CAI exhibition for a look around the stands. In the meantime, from Mari Nicholson and from me, Adrian Good, goodbye from Crawley Court.